you solved the pronunciation problem. How helpful has this sticker been?
You know, it's great. It helps people figure out how to say it. There was an article recently on the, I think, 200 people across America who share my surname, who have all kinds of different ways of pronouncing it, and how some of them have actually changed the way they say it because now there's something that more people have heard of.
And what do you prefer?
I mean, Buttigieg is how I say it, and it took us a while to figure out how to make it phonetic, but it works.
It works, yeah. And it's probably a sticker that's pretty popular out there.
Yeah,
on
we
the
see
campaign
people
trail.
with the shirts and everything.
It's less than a week, and you are working really, really hard. You got some good news from the latest polls.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Well, it tells us that we're in a position to succeed, but the polls go up or down. There's a reason they call it the polar coaster. You don't want to get too caught up in that because a lot of folks are making up their minds just in these last few days. That's why we're racing across the state, holding town hall events, giving speeches, making sure that I'm connecting with voters who are in that process of making that final decision. But we can see that we're in the mix. We can see we're in a position to win. And the other thing that's going to matter so much are the volunteers and this ground game responsible for making sure everybody who supports us actually makes it out to the caucuses and makes their support known.
Which is what's happening here. These people are literally working the phones to make sure people know about the caucus and know where to go to participate.
Exactly. And what you're seeing right in this building is everybody from seasoned policy experts to people on their very first campaign, all of whom are right now mainly focused on that critical operation, precinct by precinct, across more than 1,600 precincts in the state of Iowa, being ready to get our supporters out.
How important is victory in this state for the overall campaign?
Well, we have to perform well here in Iowa because there's a lot of talk about who's good at winning elections, but this is the first chance to show versus tell that we have a winning message for 2020 when it comes to the presidency. The best way to settle the question of whether you're able to succeed in this presidential election is to go do it somewhere.
Right.
And the first place to go do it is right here in Iowa.
Right. In Washington, there is this distraction called the impeachment trial, and some of your competitors here in Iowa are, by nature of the responsibility they have in the Senate, off the campaign trail and there. The impeachment trial is really thrown a loop with this advance of the John Bolton book, this draft in which he makes clear that he heard a clear link between the withholding of military aid and the investigation of the Bidens. John Bolton is just the latest in a number of Trump insiders who have published a tell-all book or plan to. What does that tell you about Donald Trump?
Well, it seems that just about everybody who works for this president either regrets it or has something damning to say when the truth comes out. And it also bears a lot on the process of the impeachment trial because the question I keep asking myself is if this president is innocent, why are they working so hard to suppress witnesses and evidence? Shouldn't witnesses and evidence help show that the president's innocent? Of course, we know this is not a normal trial. This is a highly politicized process where Senate Republicans have given us every reason to expect that to them it's a foregone conclusion. To me, that's all the more reason why it's important what we're doing here on the ground in Iowa and in the other states, because I'm reminding voters, no matter what happens on the floor of the Senate, 2020 is our chance as the American people to settle this question once and for all.
You got some pretty enthusiastic applause at one of your earlier events today when you said the American people seem to have the tendency to elect the exact opposite of what the prior resident of the White House has been.
Yeah, that's a common pattern in how Americans choose a future leader as we're turning the page on the presidency and the White House. And at least as a matter of style and demeanor and I think worldview, I'm about as different from this president as it gets.
There is, I think, one commonality, and forgive me for saying this, and I think it's the audacity of your campaign, the audacity that someone of your age runs for president. It's as audacious as a reality television star / businessman thinking they could get elected president. But it happened.
There's a measure of audacity to any mortal thinking that they could perform the office, the duties of the presidency. And yet, every single person who's done that job has been a human being. And what I'm arguing is that the kind of experience that I have, admittedly, the youngest person in the field right now, but for that reason, belonging to a generation with so much at stake, having the experience of guiding my own community to a different and better future, knowing what it is to be ordered into a war zone, by the decisions of a president. That's the kind of experience we need to bring to Washington. We're not going to be able to succeed against this very, very unorthodox president by returning to the same political playbook that helped get us here to begin with. I'm offering a chance to turn the page.
Give me an example of one experience you had as mayor of South Bend that answers that question in the minds of some who say he doesn't have the experience to do this.
Well, one experience you have as mayor of a city like mine is you have to actually deliver results. When it's time to pass the budget, we do our budget in cash. It's not like the federal government. I don't get to print City of South Bend currency. We just have to make it add up, and that means working across the aisle and working with different people that you may struggle with sometimes politically, but coming together to get something done. We don't have government shutdowns of cities. It's not an option. We deliver water, and you need water to live. So we just figure out a way to get it done. And that's the kind of problem solving we need more of in Washington.
If you're elected, what are the first three things you think you need to do?
Well, we need to work right away to restore America's credibility around the world and to establish a higher bar for the use of force. Right here at home, we got to work on our democracy and make sure our elections are freer and fairer. We got to act on climate right away and the racial and economic inequality that's gripped this nation. It's going to be a busy first day, a busy first 100 days, and a busy term in the White House.
What do you do for fun?
Well, there's not a lot of downtime these
I know.
days, but anytime I can be at home hanging out with Chasten, we got two dogs, these rescue dogs that don't know and don't care that I'm running for president. They want their treats, they want their walk, they want their snuggles, and it's good to have at least those creatures in our lives.
You mentioned that he's on the trail with you here in Iowa. Yeah,
Chasten's with us right now, and he brings so much to this campaign, but also we're pretty early in our marriage, and so it's been an extraordinary adventure to throw into the mix as we've started our life together since getting married about 1.5 years ago.
There's a rumor that there's a guitar in this building and that you play the guitar.
Uh-oh.
Is that a true rumor?
The second part is true. I don't know if there's a guitar anywhere near here.
Is that how you unwind sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I mean, music. I don't know. When I'm playing music, I don't think as much. I process, but I don't think. I think all of us need to have some kind of escape. Sometimes I do it through running. I don't get as much access to musical instruments these days. Although sometimes, when you're giving a speech at a high school or a middle school, and you have that hold room while you're getting ready, they stick me in the band room, and that's fun because sometimes I can play the instruments in there.
Oh, seriously?
Oh yeah.
Which ones do you pick up?
So I'm not like an accomplished bassist, but I can kind of pick up.
Well, there's only 4 strings.
On
yeah,
bass.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, so that's a lot of fun. Or if there's a piano in there, I'll noodle on it for a minute.
Good for you. Yeah. Good for you. What do you want people to think about here in Iowa and in the successive states as they go to their caucus or to their voting booth?
The biggest thing I want you to think about is the day that the sun comes up and Donald Trump is no longer president. Not just because I'm the right nominee to challenge him and bring that about, but because on that day, that's a reminder of the work ahead. That's not the day our problems end, it's the day our work begins. I'm running because I have a vision for where we need to go as a country on that day, to unify a country that's going to be as divided as ever, and to tackle these big challenges from climate to gun violence to our economic inequality, and get to work right away together.
Mayor Buttigieg, I thank you for your time.
Good to be with you.
Good luck.
Thanks.